Hi Instas, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, welcome too. This is going to be a wee video, a very quick one on Capricorn season of this here 2023-2024 kind of interstice point of the astrological year. The astrological year, by the way, ending in Pisces season. So we still have like 3 months of this current astrological year. But yeah, Capricorn season. By the way, I hope you're doing well. Leave me a comment. Let me know how your Capricorn season, or rather your Sagittarius season, because we're still in Sag season as I record, how it's been going for you. And we have the Mercury retrograde in Capricorn right now, already seeing a lot of the typical mercurial hiccupy hilarities coming up. And yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you like what I do, and subscribe to my channel if you are so inclined. I still have some spaces on my free online course, An Introduction to Spiritual Astrology. Get in touch via the details below if you'd like to know more, and if you'd like a reading with me, get in touch via the same details. So 2023 to 2024, this month, which contains Christmas for a lot of people who celebrate Christmas or who are just surrounded by it inevitably. This is Capricorn season, and this is the crunch time for a lot of people. This is like the last of chances for a lot of people, and for some people there are no more chances this astrological year. In some respect, I would I would look to where you have Capricorn in your birth chart. That will be a big clue as to one or more of the themes that this crunch might be about for some. But yeah, this is the last cardinal season of the astrological year. And in many ways, for many people, Capricorn doesn't mess around. It's kind of this very crunching, breaking, snapping type of energy. And all of the cardinal seasons are quite like this. This one can do things in kind of weird ways. Sometimes it's like something that you didn't earn or deserve breaks or gets smashed or lost, or something is taken or something disappears. And we have a cazimi here. We have the Sun and Mercury on the same degree at the beginning of Capricorn season, and we have the Sun sextiling Saturn in Pisces, Saturn being the host of the Sun during this Capricorn season, during every Capricorn season. And there is a trine that the Sun makes to Jupiter retrograding in Taurus, as well actually as a trine being made to Fortune, Lady Fortuna in Taurus, and the Moon exalted in Taurus at the very same time. So it's very nice. And also this sextile to Venus in Scorpio, which I might touch a bit more on in this video, but I do have a video already on Venus in Scorpio if you want to check that out. Venus rules sextiles, so it's especially important, but also we have Venus sextiling Saturn himself as well, who of course, yes, is the host of Capricorn season. So Capricorn is a secret water sign. That's what I call Capricorn. And Capricorn, yes, it's the mergoat. So for some people, these mergoat archetypes might play out in Capricorn season. The half fish, half goat sort of archetype. It's very good Capricorn season and Capricorn energy for artists, actually. And this is not often discussed, but I think it's a very great time, or it's a great energy for creativity and those who like to kind of escape into music or escape into art, and or get their heads down into something creative. It's a great time to kind of just chisel away at something, especially if it's the last phase of something that you've been chiseling away at for almost a year now. It's a great time to finish that off, finish that project. And with this sextile that we have then to Venus and Scorpio, I get for a lot of people affirmations of love and relationships. And in Capricorn season, actually, this can be a great time for new couples, new family members, genuine community connections. It can just be a time when things feel more precious, and especially with Mercury retrograde, things getting more reflective, or slowing down in some sense, and just cherishing and taking less for granted. Family or relationships and those social connections. And by the way, on January 5th, we have Mars, which is the planet exalted in Capricorn, entering Capricorn. So this is amazing. And this is like Nicki Minaj energy, Capricorn, exalting Mars. And we also have a square then that Mars will make to Jupiter. No, not a square, a trine that Mars will be making to Jupiter in Taurus, as well as a sextile to the Moon in Scorpio as Mars enters Capricorn. So I'm liking this a lot because Mars rules Scorpio. And I think for Scorpio risings especially, Capricorn season's a good time for getting good things, like just attracting good things, or maybe just feeling yourself a lot more in Capricorn season. And then at the January 20th, January 21st period, we have the Sun and the Pluto on the same degree as well. We have them at 29 degrees of Capricorn, and then they both ingress Aquarius, or they both enter Aquarius at the same time on or around January 21st. So that's going to be, in many ways, for many people, quite significant. That is a very interesting change of energies. It can be a big shift for a lot of people. I would say also in Capricorn season to beware of slipping on ice. We've got Mercury retrograde right now as well. Beware of things like slipping on ice, whatever that might mean to you, can be very literal as well. But also, like, don't rise to people's kind of weird switching off right now. Again, with Mercury retrograde as well, there can be this way in which people might seem less connected or off in some sense. But Capricorn energy is also kind of like compactness. It's a bit like crocodile's skin. Capricorn is the crocodile archetype. This is like walking in other people's steps in the snow or in something difficult. And by doing that, by walking in steps this is a very Capricorn Cancer axis type of thing, but by following paths and trends and the steps of that have already been forged and taken, sometimes is very wise and very profitable for the spirit or for the business or whatever the case might be. And it's like respecting those things that have been impacted and compacted and set in stone. And Christmas as well, things like Christmas, a lot of the time, a lot of people around the world now are cutting down trees and embellishing trees and embellishing the dark and warming up the cold, especially Sagittarius season is very like this as well. The introduction of the glow and the fairy lights to kind of spur us on or re-spark something or to just keep us going. And we have things like the glory of gold in Capricorn season, especially around Christmas time, and things like pitying the loner and feigning things like feigned festivity, when people force you to attend something, or you might feel forced, or obliged to fulfill something familial, but there can be this sense of performance or something being feigned, because Saturn does rule feigned appearances, and we're in a Saturnian season in Capricorn. And so, yeah, there can be a lot of fakeness to things like Christmas, or a lot of devil type rituals and cycles that we keep ourselves snared in, even though it doesn't really make sense, or it can be insincere for some people sometimes. But I do at the same time believe that Capricorn season is a good time for, as I said before, things like cherishing family and foundations. It is sometimes, however, lost in all the embellishment and the pressure to spend money that we don't have, or put resources that we can't afford to share into something that lasts like 5 seconds. That kind of thing can be rife. Also, this is kind of like a test because we have Venus in Scorpio as well. So I think things like our vices will be tested. Capricorn season usually is a good time to kind of restrict and restrain, tone things down a bit. But Venus being here in Scorpio, I think, will invite a little more seduction, a little more struggle to maybe drop something that's addictive or toxic. And it can be harder for certain circles and cycles to be shrugged in this cardinal season, which is interesting. And even some people might start a kind of new wild cycle that is not wise. But anyway, I'm thinking things like alcoholism, or going on like a wild sex spree or something like this. Capricorn is the goat. Capricorn is very funny, very funny, and very entertaining of things that are rebellious or a bit on the quote unquote dark side. And we have the star here coming up increasingly in Capricorn season. Saturn, of course, rules Aquarius as well. And we have the star, we have the pentacle, we have the 5 of Pentacles in that card. In many traditional tarot images, we have this this image of one or more people outside in the snow, and they could enter like the warm, sorry, my phone is a buzzing. They could enter the warm church, but they're choosing to walk past the warm church and to stay in the snow, the freezing cold, and kind of move on. So there's a lot to do in Capricorn season with not even like real struggle, but things and situations and relationships where we feel we have to continue struggling, or we feel we are obliged again to do something, when really we could just knock on that door there, or spin and swerve. I was saying recently, Sagittarius season is a great time to swerve on something or someone or some pattern that is not it for you. But again, Venus is in Scorpio, and this is Saturn vibes, which sometimes makes us want anyway to stay in certain miseries, or stay in certain things that just look good, or things that will be apparently better for our reputation, or something like that. This is also Patti Smith, the poet, if you know Patti Smith, the poet, the musician, the artist, and just like a lot of her poetry is just like very basic and simple. She's a Capricorn sun, but like basic, simple. It's just about going to a cafe, run-of-the-mill cafe, just sitting there with a run-of-the-mill cup of hot black coffee. Nothing embellished. This is like also like a stone cup of hot tea, Capricorn season. It's like no milk, no sugar, and just kind of holding that in your hands and feeling the warmth, the heat, but also the materiality of things and the weight. Capricorn season is a season of seeing, witnessing the weight of everything. It's very much like the 10 of Wands in many ways, Capricorn season. The 10 of Wands. It can be like the 10 of Pentacles as well, but also the 10 of Wands, in which we feel a lot the weight of everything that we've come to, all the fars we've reached this year. And it can be that kind of just looking down on it all, or for some people, just that contemplative hour in the cafe where you really get to reflect. Mercury retrograde again, really get to reflect and mull over all the great things as well, all the good things, the nice things, the little things that we are blessed with. And this is also Dolly Parton, another Capricorn sun, and country music and like country life and country kind of culture, if you like. And it's like fun at work, having fun at work, doing kind of I used to have a Capricorn sun boss, and as crazy strict as he was also quite crazily rebellious and against all of the company rules and everything like that. And it was just a very wild mix. Capricorn is like that. It's a very wild mix of follow the rules, but also might have like a flask of whiskey under their arm to kind of offer you at 10 a.m. That's Capricorn energy. Also, I think some people will, especially with Mercury retrograde, it can bring like really weird people at work, or people doing really weird things at work as well, kind of zany things. People, it's kind of like Capricorn season is a bit like a goat that's been sort of chained up for the whole of Scorpio and Sagittarius season, and now it's finally like shaking those chains and at least trying to unleash itself. Because in Capricorn season we don't want to, especially with Venus and Scorpio, we don't want to fall into like the same old traps. That's something that I think is going to trip some people up as we head towards the end of the year. Kind of bright lights and things that can distract and attract, that will harm us later. It's kind of like the goat wanting to unleash itself because it doesn't want to become goat curry, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't want to be a bunch of bones just left there in some barren field. This is kind of like, no, try to unleash in some cases for some people. And in other cases, it's just about try to see just for how long you've been free from something, and how nice that is to realize that you've been free. And maybe you haven't realized because you've been working so hard on something, or you've been anxious about stuff as well, because Capricorn is like, it's the feminine expression of Saturn. Capricorn is avaricious energy. But anyway, we are also, yes, entering this season of the crocodile, and we are approaching the wood dragon year. So money, power, things like eternity, but also reliability, all of these things will really heat up for a lot of us. And also sarcasm and illuminations on doubt. That's a very Sun and Capricorn thing. So a little more of that. And this is just hug the small things in our life and around us. And it's kind of like rolling a stone, or having like a pebble in your hand, in your pocket. I've been talking in the past few videos about how it's a great time to like walk around with our earbuds or headphones off and kind of experience more of the real world. And Capricorn season can be more like that, and especially in earthy or material senses. So really just like appreciating the little bit of money you might have left this year or this quarter, or appreciating the leftover resources in some sense, and knowing that you're going to have enough to keep you through the next like 3 months. And yes, avarice, very Capricorn season thing, whatever the year, and this kind of anxiety of the future. We will act more on this when Aquarius season comes and Pisces season, but this is like, you know, wanting to like hoard your babies as well now with the dragon year energy approaching. It's like hoarding your babies, also killing your darlings, and kind of being in this very wildly protective way of the family. And we have this sextile again to Venus in Scorpio, so there can be this crazy side to this particular Capricorn season of like that scissor song, like I just killed my ex. Not the best idea, so beware of that kind of like, obviously that's extreme, but like that kind of wild, vengeful sort of thing that might not really be a new cycle necessarily, but something that we have failed to get ourselves out of, and it kind of rears its head and comes maybe from an anxiety about the future or where we are headed. And Capricorn season is also like showing off progress. So I feel like a lot of people will be showing off like their body they have reached in terms of their body, or they are reaching very soon the condition or the shape or the style even that they want. And there's like a happiness there and like a modesty as well. This can be a great time to go and get some really nice family photograph, or end of year, end of class photographs, or to get something produced in a very wholesome, humble way, in that kind of less is more way. This is stuff like your weight as well, like achieving the weight that you want for yourself, and career, people feeling like they've really settled in some sense for their calling or their job, or they've realized or come to senses when it comes to what they want to do moving forward as well. Family portraits in the very spiritual sense, so feelings of pride and accomplishment when it comes to your line, your ancestry, and also savings. It's a great time to like show off your savings and just how much, and to give a bit. Christmas season or this Capricorn season tends to be quite charitable, but there is going to be like a difference between like charity and overdoing it when it comes to your money or your assets, your resources, your energy levels even. And I'd be aware, especially as Dragon Year approaches, I would be aware if you are like the kind of person who tends towards like power trips, or just for all of us to be aware of those ego affirming actions. But at the same time, it's interesting because I would rather still see a philanthropist or a charitable, like a quote-unquote charitable person give lots of money or lots of things. I'd rather see that happen than not, like even if they have an ego thing. And this is very like Sun being the closest to the Earth and Saturn being the furthest in the traditional planetary set. It's very much this kind of dynamic of some things, yes, they are very much tied to reputation, status, power, wealth, but at the same time, money in many ways is everything, and money in many ways is happiness. Not all the time or always, but in many ways it is. And it can make things matter more when it's shared or given. So there's that. Finally, then there's the wave of happiness that I think a lot of people will feel as well in Capricorn season. This kind of joy about their job, their work, and also purpose. A lot of Capricorn heavy people, they need purpose, or they might even be some kind of motivator in their own life, and they push people and they push causes. This is Capricorn, and this is the sextile between Venus and Saturn, Scorpio and Pisces. And Saturn, I'll end here. Saturn is this god of these very, again, cherished, kind of precious things, but also the god of very secret, private memories, or realizations or experiences that are had, and kind of these, especially with this Martian Scorpionic energy coming through with Venus there as well, like this very burning kind of internal feeling, like these big waves or swells of passion and happiness, and just a sense of quiet gladness from the very physical, real, actual situations that we have brought ourselves to for the past 9 months. So I think that's going to be felt, and it's a very profound thing, I think, with Saturn, because it's not about necessarily shouting to the rooftops about this feeling. It's more about, like, when you see a beautiful sunset as you're walking down the street, it's not about taking a photograph of the beautiful sunset and sharing it. Like, you can, but Saturn is more about just that quiet, private, you receiving that for yourself in your own moment. And there's something very original and authentic about that. And I think that's part of why Saturn finds his joy in the 12th house, the 12th house being a house that includes the themes of isolation. Anyway, I will end here. I hope you have a great start to Capricorn season. I should be back soon, maybe with a video on the full moon. Love yous, and have a lovely rest of your week.